Good morning.
Good morning.
Uh,
Please
distin-
go ahead.
Thank you very much. Distinguished participants to the Global Partnership, panelists, and worldwide audience. I kindly thank the organizers for inviting the Presidential Agency of International Cooperation, APC Colombia, to present our view on the effectiveness of the multilateral system as a dual country. Certainly, the voices from Global South must always be taken into consideration in plural scenarios of dialogue, especially when we are heading to the next effective development cooperation summit that will take place in December 2022. A few months ago, we participated in an interesting validation webinar with the GPDC team on effective donorship and multilateral support that led us to critical reflections. Today, I want to share three ideas regarding our experience as an international cooperation agency from the Global South working with the UN system, the international financial institutions, and other international non-state actors engaged in development cooperation schemes in Colombia. The first idea remarks on the link between the evolution of the concept of aid effectiveness and the country-owned development processes. The second idea is regarding the mechanisms implemented by Colombia to operationalize the country's ownership around official development assistance (ODA) processes, emphasizing multilateral partners. And finally, the third idea will focus on the expected added value of UN agencies and IFIs according to Colombia's ODA recipient and South-South cooperation provider. Firstly, while the world is becoming more multilateral with emerging cooperation partners and evolving accountability systems, the challenges around collaboration and cooperation with the stakeholders remain tangible. We do not always see eye-to-eye languages, incentives, and expectations vary from one actor to another, shaping and diversifying the development action. In this sense, through the lens of effectiveness principles, governance and country ownership embraces the needed guidance to assure the 5 Cs: coordination, consensus, collaboration, complementation, and contribution. In 2000, the new millennium began to renew efforts toward a more comprehensive view of international cooperation within the global system. Together, the Paris Declaration in 2005, Accra's Agenda of Actions in 2008, and Busan's high-level forums in 2011 set the foundation of today's aim to build a more horizontal platform for action beyond vertical donor-recipient relationships. Interdependent partners in the development to leverage knowledge and resources for the sake of prosperity through international cooperation. Paris 8 effectiveness principles: ownership, alignment, harmonization, managing for results, and mutual accountability. An Accra's agenda of action declared that stronger and more inclusive partnerships cannot engage effectively and sustainable in country-owned development processes without state leadership. Busan's high-level Forum on Aid effectiveness emphasized that development belongs to all, so meeting its aid principle is a shared duty to all partners involved. Building on the monitoring framework endorsed in Busan and the Kampala principles, the members should stay committed to facilitating country leadership, people's participation, and accountability on development processes to achieve the Nairobi commitment. Secondly, Colombia understands country ownership as a driver for development. Thus, national cooperation systems shall reflect development effectiveness beyond narratives through genuine mechanisms for multi-stakeholder partnership on its national result frameworks. When international cooperation is oriented, measured, and followed up by inclusive and participatory governance, it mitigates risks of duplicity, harmful intervention, aid dependence, and increased bureaucracy. Since 2007, the Colombian government has undertaken complementary strategies to its national development plan by introducing specific frameworks and instruments for international cooperation according to the nature, roles, and expected outcomes of these partners in the country. I will mention four of them. One, Colombia established a national strategy of international cooperation every 4 years. It is the main framework to set priorities and mechanisms to guide the international non-reimbursable cooperation that the country receives and potentially offers. The first strategy focuses on ODA. A few years later, it evolved to include South-South and triangular cooperation to reflect the emerging role of Colombia as a technical cooperation provider. Our current strategy emphasizes that our development will only be possible with effective engagement and mutual accountability among multiple actors, national, regional, and local governments, cooperation agencies, private enterprise, philanthropy, academia, and civil society. Two, the national system of international cooperation was established by law in 2022 to enhance institutional capabilities and coordinate international cooperation at local levels. Law enforcement not only allows the strategy, programmatic, and operational scenarios for international cooperation in Colombia to be aligned to foreign policy and domestic needs. It also offers practical guidelines regarding project technical, financial, and knowledge management. Three, cooperation frameworks with strategy partners are negotiated based on the national priorities where international cooperation provides value added in support of the public policy. For instance, as a result of a one-year round of negotiations with the UN system, the United Nations Framework for Sustainable Development, UNSDCF 2020-2023, with three thematic areas: peace, migration, and SDGs accelerators, came out along with relevant adjustments. A new configuration of the UN national team and a new model of intervention according to each UN agency's scope, expertise, and capabilities. A more profound UN interagency work, territorial, sectorial driven interventions, national appropriation, strategy, alliances, and transparency. And monitoring an evaluation plan with indicators and accountability instruments of report and analysis. Three, sustainability strategies, alignment, capacity building, and knowledge management. Two, joint teams between UN and government officials. One, the results group, and two, the follow-up, evaluation, and knowledge management group. Beside the framework, APC Colombia also establishes annual plans with each UN agency and yearly reports on the projects, financial flows, lesson learning, and recommendation as a way to capture and analyze relevant data. All this information becomes inputs for planning strategies and future decision-making policies. 4. Colombia established a validation mechanism with international development banks before the implementation of any development intervention in the country. The Colombian government requires all multilateral development banks operating in the country to request national consultation, not objection mechanism, throughout APC Colombia for all development projects in the design phase. Despite implementing all these frameworks, plans, and mechanisms that I mentioned as a government, we still face challenges in coordination and sustainability at a local level where unaligned actions of multiple organizations undermine development effectiveness. 3. The third idea is regarding the expected added value of UN agency. We've identified some opportunities for improvements in the multilateral organization support to national governments. Multilateral organizations often become the main implementer of international cooperation resources and the public budget, leaving local ONGs out of the game, reducing local capacity, and incrementing dependency. The dynamics of multilateral schemes of cooperation tend to be costly due to high overhead. When a cooperation project is implemented with the support of an international partner with more significant local presence and recognition than the state itself, the visibility and contribution of public institutions get vanished. Triangular cooperation has enormous room to be developed and deepened by our multilateral partners. The multilateral global capillarity should benefit knowledge sharing in the global south. I want to finish my intervention by acknowledging the potential and capabilities of multilateral actors to contribute to development processes and subsidiary support to country efforts. And I want to point out clear opportunities to add value to multilateral effectiveness. Commitments, guidelines, and principles should be evenly known and clearly understood by national and local delegates across the UN country network. Development intervention must include third-party implementers and civil society collaborators to enhance local capacities, reduce dependency, and strengthen alignment with local priorities. UN agencies and international financial institutions hold international recognition for their expertise, methodological approach, and knowledge products. Those capabilities should be considered to identify and promote local achievements, cutting edge, advanced, and community based innovation to help validate the new knowledge generated domestically before the international community. Resource mobilization carried out by multilateral partners should be strategical platforms to attract non-traditional partners and new stakeholders to invest and work collaboratively and in innovative mechanisms for international cooperation beyond traditional ODA. Increased resources are needed to promote knowledge sharing among Global South partners, expand the benefits of development processes through triangular cooperation, and leverage blended finance and impact investing initiatives where public institutions lack experience. I want to thank the organizers for your kind invitation and mostly for facilitating insightful dialogues to us or ourselves to encourage better and more effective partnership for the development and hopefully provide value inputs for December's summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Viviana, for giving